dude, this ain't your court. This ain't your building. Y'all took that L. Get out of here.
Episode 1. That's what she said. I'm Rob Perez, World Wide Wob. That is the man himself, Rasheed Wallace. And it is not a coincidence that we are filming this first episode the same day, pretty much. The anniversary. There's a 1 in 365 chance of this happening. But it aligns that we're live talking to each other on the Malice at the Palace anniversary. Do you think about it when the calendar hits November 19th? Like, damn, that shit really happened? Do you still talk to any of those guys? Like, what goes through your mind on this day?
Oh, yeah, but the crazy thing about it, we all still cool today. I'm still cool with Steve Jack. I'm still cool with Jermaine. I'm still cool with Meta. So, it was just the heat of the moment that night. It was a good game, but it had stemmed back from the season before where, we put them out the playoffs with the infamous block with Tayshaun. So, they came in there with that chip on their shoulder. So, it was turning into a good rivalry. And so what a lot of people don't realize is in that game, we were actually losing. I think we was down by like 12 or 14, something like that. We were actually losing. And so, we was like, all right, we can take the loss. But then when Artest fouled Ben, and man, let me tell you, Bob, hey, I thought that man was going to die just from that push alone, man. Like, yo, he pushed that man so hard, I seen his spirit leave out through his back. Like on the cartoons when they pushed him. That's how it was. But all hell broke loose once the fan threw the drink down. And, man, what are the chances? Like you said, 1 in 365 chances? Well, what are the chances that this fan lobs this drink and it splashes right on Ron Artest, yo? Like,
perfectly.
What were the chances it hit? Perfectly, right? But it was
imagine
crazy,
just imagine if he missed it 6 inches to the left. What the history of the NBA looks like.
Right. It would have been totally different. But damn, he hit him right on target.
So we've actually seen, and for those of you watching this, you're gonna have to apologize. The Knicks have taken over my life so much that now I'm starting to sound like Tom Thibodeau. You're just gonna have to bear with me that Thibodeau's got this much of a grip on my lifestyle right now. But we've seen documentaries on Showtime and Netflix telling the Pacers side of the story from that night, and we got footage, unseen footage from inside the locker room. But what I've never found out, Sheed, because you guys were home, it was your fans. And while the Pacers were certainly enemy number one that night with Ron Artest and Steven Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal, what was your locker room like once you got all of the soldiers back in there?
Well, it was just pretty much just trying to keep Ben calm. He was still riled up a little bit, but other than that, I mean, it was just like, hey, Coach Brown was just telling us like, that was a bad look, that was a bad thing that happened, blase. But he was like, look, we just got to deal with it, and that's what we did, just made sure that Ben was calm, and he eventually calmed down. And, they had left the stadium before we even left, to go home or whatever. So all hell did break loose, though, man. And, they were up there in the stands, the fans. I didn't even know that a few of the fans was on probation, too. The ones that, came down there on the floor and took the punch at Jermaine, all of that. I didn't know they got probation, too.
And when something escalates to that degree, is what's going through your mind? Is it protect your teammates, protect your fans? As the other players are fighting your fans, are you supposed to defend the players? Are you supposed to defend the guys that are wearing your jersey in the crowd? Like, how do you act in that moment? Because that's so unprecedented for normal humans, let alone you guys in on a basketball court.
Well, my first thing was to separate the two teams, to make sure that Ben was back, and to make sure that Artest was back. It wasn't nothing with them because both benches had cleared. So once I knew that, my team, my guys, we were all, we were cool, we were standing back, and then that's when they got into it with the crowd. So my thing, I was like, oh man, those are my guys up there. No matter what, we are playing against each other right now. Spirit of competition, blase, but those are my guys up there. They're my brothers because one, they're part of an elite club with being in the NBA. Two, I tried to save them from it being like a real bad look. That's one thing that I will say. about it. I'm not sure if I ever said this, but yeah, that was a little black eye that night on the league because it had got out of hand. Our fans was in there and coming down on the floor and throwing things at them, and it was a wild night, man. It was wild.
So let's continue with this thought while segueing to more current events, because recently I'm thinking of Russell Westbrook when he was with the Washington Wizards and he had popcorn poured on him by a fan. That's a very similar type of action that can start some shit, right? Thankfully, there was no Malice at the Palace sequel, but that is a fan. What's the term I'm looking for? Not physically harming a player, but physically instigating a player with foreign objects, which could lead to that type of scenario. And now even more recent, that sometimes fans aren't even involved, and we get an incident like that occurred between Giannis Antetokounmpo, Montrezl Harrell, and the Philadelphia arena staff following the game, this big game over the weekend between the Bucks and the Sixers that was on national television. We've now seen at this point the full video of what occurred, but this was also a microcosm of the way society works, as we get the 76ers fan video first. That goes completely viral, and it has 11 million views before we get the full story of Giannis just walking over there like it's a WWE episode and launching that shit attitude era out of the ring, man. So after we get the full story and understand why Giannis was so upset in the first place, I want to ask you, before we even talk about this one specifically, but the unwritten rules of the game, there are many. Okay, let me just name a few. If you're getting blown out at the buzzer, you don't like shoot a three just to rub it in and go for a triple double. Okay, that's just disrespectful. So that's kind of an unwritten rule. Some unwritten rules, you're not supposed to help up the other team sometimes. That's, some believe in that. That's more of an old school way of thinking. Don't help them up. They're not helping you up. They're not wearing this jersey. But what about the unwritten rules following the game? Because you have Giannis out there practicing free throws, and Montrez, that's his home arena, while one of the baskets is being worked on. He's trying to get his workout in following the game, and he's stealing Giannis's balls and saying, "Get the hell out of here. Go practice your free throws in Milwaukee." Like, is that something that happens a lot? Because I imagine you've done a post-game workout either at home or on the road before, or is this just fucking petty, man? And this is stupid. I need to know your thoughts on this.
Most of the times when the home team is, they host it, it's their guys that some of them, and usually younger players or guys who didn't get a lot of minutes, they usually go out on the floor and, get a little workout in real quick either as the fans are leaving or when the fans have left. But that's the first time I never really heard of what Giannis did, being on the road and getting that workout in after the game. That one was a little strange, and it's not your gym. I found that one to be a little strange. But yes, it's a lot of unwritten rules, man. And the way that goes after the game, it's like, all right, we on the road. Cool. Again, it all goes back to what I said previous, the spirit of competition. So I know that I'm out there to bust your ass. I know you out there to bust my ass. But after the game, hey, if y'all staying over or whatever, let's go get a beer. Or let's go have some dinner, go hang out or something, go to the club or whatever. It's the spirit of competition, and that's one of the things that is not like that amongst a lot of players in the NBA. They're too buddy now. It's like, oh no, I want to go play with my friend or do this and that with my friend. But I understand what Trez did, and he was home in Philly. He had the whole crowd behind him and everything. So
it was the perfect storm because the Philadelphia 76ers were having an event after the game, so there were still a lot of fans remaining in the stands. And, of course, it being 2022, they had their phones out. So when they have their phones out and they're watching Giannis shoot free throws, plus the fact that Giannis was on complete rage tilt. He had just a terrible game from the free throw line. The fans had kind of gotten into his head a little bit. He was airballing free throws even after the fact. So he's pissed off at losing. He's pissed off that now my free throws are a problem again. And now I got this bench player on the other team coming over here and telling me that I can't practice free throws after you beat us. And I want to go back to the point that you just said, that as soon as that final buzzer sounds, you go, you dap up everyone. Where we eating tonight, right? Let's go. That was not the case with Montrezl Harrell, who still was carrying over that type of it's you or me energy into the post-game workout. So that's why this. Yeah.
I kind of see where Trez was coming from though, because like this is my home court, you know what I'm saying? And as you just mentioned, it was an after game event there, so he's thinking to himself like, look, let me go ahead and get my workout in real quick before they start this. Or, I mean, who knows? He might have been part of that after game entertainment as far as being with the fans, the pictures and autographs. Because guys usually do that sometimes when you have like a special group of kids come through or a special organization that comes down. And, it's some people that from that home team, again, the home team that comes out after that game. And, you talk a little bit with the fans and blase. So I kind of sort of feel where Trez coming from. It's like, look, dude, this ain't your court. This ain't your building. Y'all took that L. Get out of here. So, and plus, that's how we are in Philly anyway.
Right. I was about to say, of all places to pick to do that, the perfect storm of fan bases plus phones being out plus the way that game ended, it did not spell. And Giannis let's be honest, Giannis has a reputation as a very humble, genuine type of guy that's just so happy to be in the NBA and living this life. Yeah, he's very authentic with the type of person that he is, translating that onto camera. But because he's so good, he's naturally going to have haters because he beats their team's ass. So this is kind of those haters' opportunity to cling on to something, being like, I told you he wasn't humble. We got him. We got him in this moment. And that arena worker was trying to simply get the camera down. And whether you thought Giannis was in the right or not, he still like shoved the shit out of that ladder to make a point. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think we all will forget about this kind of stuff. But let's keep this thought going here, because there's the storylines in the NBA team tend to be more so when the buzzer ends or off the court, more so than on the court stuff, at least before Christmas Day. And we had Kyrie Irving return to the lineup recently. And while the Kyrie Irving saga is certainly an episode in itself, Sheed, I was more so curious about when Kyrie, because he returned to play actual basketball, which means he was in the locker room with the guys. He was suspended from the team and away from the team. And the Nets had done pretty damn well without him. So when Kyrie comes back in there, you as a player have had, whether it's yourself or somebody else throughout your long career, is entering a locker room from some time off or even potentially through a trade. What is the locker room like if Kyrie were to come back into your space? Like how would he be welcomed, and how do you think the Nets welcome back Kyrie in this new era versus when you were playing it?
Well, for me, it's just a matter of respect. If this man believes in some things, then okay, we're here to play ball. Check that at the door. I understand, you might be feeling this way. It's like some guys, I played with some guys who are Muslim, so it's like some of their beliefs, they got to check at the door because this is work now. So yeah, you're gonna hear guys cussing at you, and you might be cussing yourself a little bit, no matter what. But you got to respect people's religions and decisions. So my thing in our locker room, hey yo, all that, we're gonna put all that to the side. That's what you believe in. That's how you do. Cool. That's how you make your money. Off the court, how you make your money. I ain't gonna hold you, but on this court, when we in this locker room, yo, we got to be on one page, dog. We got to be on one page. Fuck what the fans say. We don't care about that because they're gonna be chirping left and right. Yo, we need to be on one page. Let's go out here, run this play right. Pick and roll or whatever. Do what we got to do to get this win. When you leave that gym, then you can go back to being a movie director, a Hollywood star, a TV host. It don't matter to me. Once you come in that gym, yo, we got one mission to go out here. First, you got to do your job, be professional, but damn, we don't want to look bad doing it. So let's get on the same page. But I respect everything else.
Okay, so let me press you on this, because this is now with Kyrie Irving, an example of which, like, everything you said seems logical. Come in here, do your work, and then you do what you got to do as soon as the game is over. That makes sense, right? But with Kyrie, man, it's been years of, when I say repeated offenses, it makes it sound like he's guilty of something. So I don't want to say that, but repeated controversies, I think, is more so the appropriate term here, that either the media or the audience every time like Kyrie enters a building, the energy changes. So now that we're on example number 10 of this, you, Rasheed, have just said, come in here and do your work, leave everything else at the door. But what happens when it's not left at the door and he wants to make it a part of the game? As Kyrie has said in the past, that he doesn't want his voice to be silenced by basketball or by any individual, which is certainly within his right. But that's almost in contrast to what you just talked about there. Of he's not just coming in to do his job. He may be doing his job, but there's baggage with it as well. So the next follow-up question to you is, what happens if they don't just come in to punch the time clock and do their job? What action needs to be taken by a fellow player that maybe may or may not agree with the situation?
Well, that would probably be something that would be discussed behind closed doors. It would be a team meeting, no coaches. And then the guys will air out their differences, especially if he is still bringing that baggage. It could be a timeout, or you could be sitting on the side and you sitting there, and then all of a sudden out the blue, be like, man, yeah, so that one part in that movie, da-da-da-da-da. Like, yo, I don't want to hear this shit, man. Like, yo, let's concentrate on this ball. You know what I'm saying? Let's do the normal thing. Talk about the people in the stands. Talk about their fans. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the other team. But I don't want to hear all that other shit that goes on while we off of this floor. You know what I'm saying? And if that player continues to do it, then like I said, yo, it's going to have to be a team meeting, man. Like, yo, either you going to have to hush that shit up or you got to roll or something. Like, we tell the coach afterwards, like something like, yo, clip this dude minutes or something. But you can't have it, because now if you bring that to the locker room, it's going to disturb this locker room, especially if you're dealing with immaturity. Some of these guys aren't mature enough to, number one, even look at the film that is in discussion with Kyrie. They're not there yet. So if he's still on that, if I'm in that locker room, like, yo, I definitely, as a veteran, I got to talk to you. Like, yo, we're going to do it one-on-one. And then if it's still happening, then I got to bring the team in on it, because it's not just you out here. Like, you can't make your statement on the ball court, because that directors and other movies and all that other stuff, they don't care how many damn points you got when you out there on that floor. It don't matter. You think you're going to get a Academy Award or Oscar for out there playing ball just because you believe something in this on some other stuff? No, leave all that shit out there and let's work on ball, B. Work on ball.
Without naming names, have you ever been in a situation in your career in which, all right, we got to get together and have a team meeting because this has gone too far? The Trailblazers teams, the Pistons teams, there were a lot of big personalities in a much different era without social media. So we may or may not have ever learned this story, but had it ever gotten to the point in your long career that you had to have one of those meetings that you were just talking about doing?
Oh, definitely. But it was more from a basketball standpoint, though. It was more like, we lost probably like 6 out of 8, 7 out of 9, something like that. So it's like, look, we got to salvage the season. Let's get this shit back rolling. Whatever beef it is that, the players got in the locker room or with each other, let's solve that and get out here and be one on this court. But I am lucky enough to say that the Blazers teams I had, the Pistons teams, and even that one year I played in Boston, it was that camaraderie, that respect level, to the point where, all right, I'm not going to sit up here and disrespect this man and his family because he's doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm trying to feed my family. I'm out here working. So it'll be more of that cohesiveness in the locker room opposing to disarray. Now, you do have some weirdos, who want to go off to the side, sit in the corner, be by themselves all the damn time. All right, that's cool. Sometimes you want to be by yourself, get your thoughts together. But, this is a team game. Team game, not individual. Team game. And with that, come on, man. We got to get out here and ball, dog. All that what you believe, man. It's almost gets to the point where you say, like, I don't care about all that. I care about you right here on this court. I care about you making this jump shot. You know what I mean? I care about you being that good teammate on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, good job, all of that. That's what I care about.
All right. Well, I've done my digging here. I've done my digging on Rasheed, trying to get some juicy stuff out of him. But you know what? At the end of the day, it sounds like the common theme is going to be, if you do your job, you have no problem. Rasheed will have no problem with you if you come in there and just do your work. I don't care what you believe in, what you do, but the moment you step into this locker room, this is kind of our safe space, our dojo. And if you
Yep.
treat it as such, I will return the respect. That's a fair
Yep.
hypothesis for you?
Oh, definitely fair assessment for sure.
All right. So we talked about a lot of off the court basketball things. Let's talk about some actual basketball, because there are certainly some storylines going on in the NBA right now that are worth talking about. It's early. We're not even at Christmas Day, which is the mainstream beginning of the NBA season, right? But they've been playing games for some time now, in a team that a big city and a big fan base would be very interested to hear your opinion on, is the Portland Trailblazers. And now they're at the top of the Western, not the very top, but they are doing quite well.
Doing well,
towards the top. Yeah, doing well in the upper echelon of the Western Conference. And Dame's been in and out. But this question's more so going to be the way that the game has evolved now from when you played there. I don't want to say that your role within those early 2000s Blazers teams was like the swing man that we have nowadays, like 3 and D, but your ability to guard positions 1 through 5 at the time and being a athletic big guy was kind of you were the first of what was going to eventually evolve into the traditional swingman in today's game. And the guy that I'm referring to is Jerami Grant. So while Yusuf Nurkic is the traditional 5, the big man, the anchor who clears the glass, the Portland Trailblazers have Jerami Grant, who has been unbelievable for them. Another guy that can guard positions 1 through 5, shoots threes, plays defense, can do everything in between. And the reason why I'm starting the conversation around Jerami was, you know what, in Portland you had, whether it was Dale Davis or whoever was flanking you, that traditional big man allowed you to stretch the floor and like shoot threes for being a power forward / center, gave a unique way to the Blazers to play this game. So this is a very long-winded way of asking the question of what early season successes, parallels between your game and Jerami Grant's game do you see in the Trailblazers now? And again, while he plays it a lot differently, can you speak as to why he might be the most important player on this team to start the season, the most unreplaceable player, because Simons has Dame has Simons. They even have, when Gary Payton II comes back, they have Josh Hart. But Jerami Grant sure feels like the guy that always has to be there. And what do you see in his game sheet that makes it so important?
He could be that glue. He could be that glue piece, because if you look at it, just like you said, they got the guards already. And you want to know how I see him for real? I see him more like a Jerome Kersey. You know, Jerome Kersey, he up and down that floor. He was a strong dude. He didn't necessarily post up, but he didn't necessarily always shoot the jump shot. But he was always fucking there, yo. A tip on a rebound, or if, guys on the floor diving for that loose ball, well, you're going to see number 2-5 there. So that's who Jerm reminds me of a lot, and I feel you with him being there. You got first, Dame has somebody else that he could trust with this ball. It doesn't always have to come down to me now, but that's just the killer in him. I got somebody out there that could defend on that wing. I got somebody who could defend most of the post players, opposing to it being the traditional 7-foot big man. I think Jerami, he could defend guys at 6'9", 6'10". He's strong, he's scrappy. And that's the thing that I think got him over, where he's become a fan favorite. They really love him out there in Portland. He just got there. They really going to love him out there because he hustled. It's like he's out there, he hustled. I'm going to make something happen in my 2 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it is. You're going to know I'm out there. I'm going to make something happen, a steal, a block, a dunk, running the floor. Something exciting is going to happen with young fella. But I like what he's doing, man. Chauncey got them guys balling early in the season. They bought into the program. And, I think they're going to go as far as Dame take them. We all know that, So I could definitely see them making the playoffs. They got a solid big man with Nurch now. Jerm, he's that swing man, as you like to say. He's that 3-4 where put that smaller dude on me, I'm going to go ahead and on them chop blocks. You put a bigger dude on me, well, I'm going to take him out on the wing and go by him. So I think they got some scoring from a lot of positions. But They just got to bring it together and keep that defense tight. Because here's the thing about the NBA. It used to be a defensive league, then they wanted the offense with all the damn threes. But now teams have got to start playing defense. You find out in them playoffs, it kind of sort of goes back to old school. The rest let them play a little bit more than what they do in the regular season. But them Blazers, they're going to be all right, man. They're going to be, I'm happy for Chauncey and what him and his staff is out there doing, bro.
So if there's anyone on this planet that knows the little intricacies of Chauncey Billups, the person and the player, I'm talking to him right now. I got Rasheed Wallace here. So have you seen anything that Chauncey has done as a coach that's made you laugh and be like, you know what? He did this shit in Detroit. And now he's got his boys doing it in Portland. Is there any schemes, any X's and O's? Is there anything that Dame or even a Jerami Grant or Nurkic that is exemplifying Chauncey Billups as the player that, I mean, you were with for what felt like almost a decade?
If I'm not mistaken, I saw him one night ran two chess. And that was Rip's old play where, Chauncey comes by half court and he's standing in the middle of the court. Rip is at the top of the key. Me and Ben are on the elbows, and Tayshaun is pretty much in the paint. And he's going opposite of Rip. And, coming off of the screen, Chauncey runs that for those guards a lot, for Dame and Simmons and stuff. So I've seen that. And I think just the all overall ball control. I think with Chauncey being that Hall of Fame caliber point guard, and now you have one of the top elite guards up under you, like you can see where Dame's game is going to get a little bit more tighter, a little bit better. Not saying that Dame is bad or nothing like that. I don't want y'all to think I'm saying that. But you got a Hall of Fame point guard as your coach that played your same position. So now you're going to pick up his same little knickknacks and in and outs with the plays and the whole gameplay itself.
So that's Damian Lillard is likely headed for the Hall of Fame himself as well. And Chauncey inherited Damian Lillard at this point in his career, probably needs little education on the game of basketball because he's a master of it now. But his counterpart, his wingman, Anfernee Simons, is still very young, very promising. And while Dame can certainly put him under his wing, the Blazers have the luxury of a Hall of Fame point guard himself being the head coach of this team. So what should Blazers fans out there look for in Simons' development that he's going to learn from Chauncey? Because he's been with Dame for a little bit. They've been on and off with injuries, and they haven't had a whole lot of time together chemistry because CJ McCollum was there too. But what should Blazers fans be looking out for from Simons as he continues to evolve as a basketball player? Is there something that Chauncey's going to install in that brain that within a month you're going to watch him like do a power dribble step back because that was Chauncey's thing, or calling the two chests like you talked about before? Is there something that you can predict with your crystal ball that Chauncey's going to have Simons doing?
I think it's to recognize the game, recognize certain time periods in the game where you don't always have to come down and shoot a damn three. Yeah, I know that's what they do now, but you don't have to always come down and shoot a three. Chauncey, again, we were talking about the analytics. So it's like one of the key components as far as when you're dealing with veteran players. It's like, okay, it goes with your first three shots. If I shoot a jump shot for my first shot of the game, I miss it. I'm like, okay. If I shoot a jump shot or a three for my second jump shot of the game and I miss it, that third shot, no matter what, I'm going to the hole. I got to get me a bucket. You know what I'm saying? I got to get me a layup, score me a bucket to feel good about myself. Then maybe I can go back and I might be able to bang that jumper down. But now it's like, all right, I got the first points. He's gonna be like that. Also, we're just seeing different points in the game. Like, okay, we don't necessarily need a three right here. Oh, Nurk got a mismatch. Hey, run, whatever play that they have to be able to, boom, swing that ball or get that ball to Nurk on that mismatch real quick. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to become a student of the game. A lot of the younger kids today, they aren't students of the game because some of them, that 1 year of college, they didn't finish the full thing. And, they just seen it as, okay, I can dunk, so that's my niche. But a lot of them have to become students of the game because that's how you have longevity in this league. You know what I mean? If I know the guys that I'm playing against every night, like I know Shaq moves in and out. I knew Kobe moves in and out. Tim Duncan moves in and out. Kevin Garnett moves in and out. Sean Kemp moves in and out. And these are all the guys that's in my division. So I'm seeing them, you know what I'm saying, multiple times a year. So I see him today. I know what Moosey do. When I see him next week, shit, it ain't like it's going to be something new. No, it's going to be some of the same moves. So, you know, you get all that down. And I think that's how Simmons is going to become a student of the game under Chauncey.
There's two schools of thought there. The first of which would be Simons is a shooter, right? And when he's hot, he's hot. And what do shooters do when they go into a slump? They keep shooting through the slump. Or in your case, it sounds like Chauncey being a little bit more from if you don't have it that night, go get yourself an easy bucket in between to get you back going, right? So if Simons is having a cold night, we should probably look for him to utilize his dribble and ability to get to the rim a little bit more than the Inferno or the Infernus, as they like to call it.
And down the other end playing defense. Because I know one thing we always said, which I'm pretty sure Chauncey said to them in the locker room, look, if I'm having a shitty game, we can't score, I'll be damned. Y'all ain't scoring either. You know what I mean? So it's going to be nice where, like you just said, you're going to have them nights when you bricking. You can't, you know, throw the beach ball in the ocean standing right there on the beach. And it's going to be nice when it's all water. But the defense shouldn't stop. I think he's going to install in them, don't let your offense dictate your defense and dictate your game. Because that's how some guys do. Oh, you know, they get in that slump. Or like you said, I'm not shooting. You know, I'm not making my shots. All right. What that got to do with you down on the other end? Like, come on, man. Snap out of it. Let's play some defense, dog.
Last thing I want to ask you, Sheed, Carolina basketball is out to a 4-0 start to start the season. First couple games for the number one ranked team in the nation. A little rocky, but they responded well. Hubert Davis laid into them in a way that I don't want to say is uncharacteristic, but he's more soft-spoken than he is Bob Knight, okay? So when Hubert comes to a press conference and said, I really let them have it, and the players were like, we've never seen Hubert like that. Ever since that halftime speech against the second game of the season, I don't think it was against Charleston, the one right before it, it sure sounded like you guys need to treat every opponent with the same respect because you can't just coast at the very end. But 4-0 is 4-0. What have you seen from the Heels to start the season? They still seem like the perennial favorite to cut down the Nets in Houston. I just kind of curious as to your thoughts on how a team with these type of expectations, after being the Cinderella, playing with house money, have beaten Duke in the Final Four. They could all retire tomorrow and they'd have statues outside the Dean Dome for what they accomplished. But it's unfinished business right now, and it's one of those redemption years like Carolina had after losing to Villanova at the buzzer in the finals. So what have you seen from this team thus far in terms of character, talent, and on the floor play?
Well, it's still early. One thing I like that Hubert is doing, he's giving a couple of other guys on the bench a shot, you know, playing against the quote-unquote supposedly lesser talent, lesser caliber of teams. But, no, we just got to get it together, man, and finish games out. You know, there's times when we get a little too happy. Like, we look up at the score like, all right, we up 18. So now I can start jacking. You know, I can start going for mine. We got to stay with that team concept. The guys are looking good. Mondo's looking good. You know, he's coming up, I think on a double-double record. He just passed T. Hansborough. He's coming up on a double-double record, I think. I forgot who he's under. But he's playing well. RJ's playing well. A lot of the new kids coming in and getting adjusted to the system. But, yeah, I know Hugh did shoot them out because one thing that over the years that, you know, Carolina players and at times, when I was there as well, it's like, all right, shit, we Carolina, so you know, we got this. But the other teams coming in our house, like, oh yeah, this Carolina, yeah, we gonna make our names right here. I remember it happened against us with Texas. First game my sophomore year, dude dunked this ball so hard in my face, but. We had that swag like, all right, you know, Texas, they just gonna lay down, but you know, they came in there with a crew and they almost beat us. But I think what Hubert is trying to get to them is like, look, when other teams play us, that's their championship game. That's their Final Four. to play prestigious Carolina in Carolina and either come away with a victory or almost get them, that's making everything better for that other team. That's why I said we just got to learn how to finish games. And once we know that, look, all right, these guys, they can't compete with us, we got to keep our foot on their neck, man. We can't let them breathe.
Going to get everyone's best shot every night because
every night.
It says not only because it says Carolina on the front of the chest, you're playing in the Dean Dome, you get recruited to some school where you maybe get 1,000 people show up to the game. You get this cathedral of basketball. You bet the same way that you probably showed up whenever you play in Madison Square Garden or at Staples Center back in the day against the Lakers. Just those games, no matter who it is, if it says it on the front of their chest or you're playing in a certain building, now you get both of those plus the number one team in the country. Carolina is going to have to treat every opponent like they're getting their best shot.
Because one thing you don't want, if I'm playing against you, I don't want you to try to make your name off of mine. No, granted, they, Hackensack University, but hey, Hackensack University, one of them guys is going to be a dog, one of them is going to be a scorer to come in there because they know this is my opportunity. This is my one shining moment, my 15 minutes of fame, 15 seconds of fame. Playing Carolina. So if I go out here and have 35 or 40 and we lose, but people still go down, people going to recognize me and know who I am. They're going to know my name.
I would do anything to hit. If Carolina for some reason has a little bit of a lull in terms of, like, let's say they lose 2 games in a row and they fall out of number 1 and they kind of have a reality check that this is not just going to be a rollover season. And they're like, we need to call Rasheed Wallace and get him to give these boys a pregame speech. I want to know what that pregame speech sounds like. Are you coming in there guns blazing? Are you like addressing them as if they're your kids? Or are you like, I don't know. I've always thought about if we needed some sort of vocal presence of every Carolina alum that I can think of that is up in those rafters one way or another. That's Jordan, Hansborough, Vince Carter, Sean May, Raymond Felton. The first guy that I would pick is either Rasheed Wallace or Jerry Stackhouse. If we needed to get up, light a fire under our asses. Like, have you ever been asked to do anything like that? And I mean, would you do it if you needed to?
Oh yeah, definitely I would. I would. And for me, I'm holding no punches. This is a lot where a lot of people get it fucked up at is they think that this basketball is like little kid basketball. Everybody not getting a participation medal. Everybody ain't getting a participation trophy. Nah, it's only one. There can only be one champion. You think whoever comes in second, third, or fourth place at the Final Four, you think they getting the big, you know what I'm saying, NCAA trophy? Hell no. You don't remember who come in second. It's all about coming in first and getting that chip.
Either first or your last, according to the great Rasheed Wallace. If you guys watching this program today have enjoyed the show, we would simply encourage you to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and join us as we're going to be back weekly throughout the entire NBA and NCAA season talking about all this stuff. So for Rasheed himself, I am Rob Perez,
yes, sir.
World Wide Wob, for this episode of That's What Sheed Said. We'll see you next time.